still on Harry, and there are whispers that the CEO of the Invictus Games is attempting to ease Harry out.
With my mug on me. Oh, Didi. Oh, what it is? Oh, Didi, what?
We witnessed perpetual victim. You're absolutely right. I'm still under the impression that come hell or high water, this woman will not return to the UK.
For Megxit, they ran away to escape the intrusion of the awful British press, in fact, the world's media.
He wants the king to open the next Invictus Games, and his wife Meghan apparently is talking about coming back this summer. I hope not for good.
The relationship with the King and Harry is at all times turning everything into a soap opera.
I think she's so fearful of being booed. I think she truly does loathe the United Kingdom.
This is attracting attention to the family, attracting attention to the kids.
But I truly would be surprised if she got on a plane. I think she will come up with any excuse in the world to avoid this trip.
In this case, we're not dealing with the smartest person in the world. We know that from all the things we've seen. Seriously, she's not. You know, she's nice and she's smart. I mean, fairly.
Rather than focusing on veterans, which I can say as a royal reporter, competitors that feel like Harry and Meghan suck all of the oxygen out of the room and it's not about them.
King Charles is being backed into a corner, not by a foreign government, not by a constitutional crisis, by his own son. And the weapon being used? Veterans. That's the part that has royal watchers genuinely unsettled. Because Harry and Meghan didn't quietly reach out to the palace. They didn't pick up the phone. Instead, a report landed in the pages of a national newspaper, suggesting that Harry is desperate for his father to open the Invictus Games when it returns to the UK in 2027. Public, loud, impossible to ignore, and the moment that story hit, one question started circulating almost immediately. Was this really about reconciliation? Or was this something else entirely? If you want more deep dives like this, make sure to subscribe to Royal Archives. Because here's what makes this moment different from every other Harry and Meghan story of the last 4 years. Invictus isn't just a charity event. It's untouchable. It was built for wounded, ill, and injured servicemen and women, people who sacrificed everything. To publicly question Harry's motives around Invictus is to risk looking like you're attacking veterans, and everyone in that palace knows it. That's not an accident. Royal correspondent Richard Kay, a man who has spent decades inside the inner circles of the British royal family, who knew Princess Diana personally, made something very clear. This kind of pressure, played out through newspaper headlines rather than private conversations, puts the king in what Kay described as an invidious position.
And I remember feeling a bit sort of superior and sniffy, thinking, is this really something I should be doing?
A position where saying yes feels forced and saying no feels unthinkable. Think about that for a second. The king is head of the armed forces. The Invictus Games honors the people who served under that banner. If Charles declines to attend, or even delays confirming, well, the story writes itself. And Harry's team knows exactly how that story reads. But there's a layer here that's being overlooked. When Invictus launched in London, back in 2014, the then monarch, Queen Elizabeth, did not attend, not once. Prince Charles went, William went, but the sovereign stayed away. So there is no royal obligation, no precedent, no tradition that demands the king show up. That fact matters, because it means this entire pressure campaign is built on an expectation that was never actually established. And yet, here we are. Across social media, the reaction was sharp. Many observers were quick to point out that the timing of this announcement felt strategic. Because it didn't come after a private approach to the palace was ignored, it came first. The public pressure came before any private conversation was ever confirmed to have taken place. Whether that was intentional or not, that's the question people kept asking. Now add Meghan into this. Because it wasn't just Harry's name attached to these reports. There were suggestions.
But I truly would be surprised if she got on a plane. I think she will come up with any excuse in the world to avoid this trip.
unconfirmed but widely circulated, that Meghan could join Harry for Invictus-related events in the UK, first for a smaller event this coming July, then for the full games in 2027. Conditional, of course, on Harry winning his ongoing battle for round-the-clock security protection. That security review, still ongoing as these reports dropped, suddenly looked like something more than a legal dispute. It started looking like a negotiation, a very public one. Some online discussions began connecting the dots in a way that made palace sources visibly uncomfortable. If Harry gets the security he's demanding, Meghan comes. If Meghan comes, the circus arrives. And if the circus arrives, William and Catherine, who have spent 2 years carefully rebuilding the monarchy's image after a period of genuine fragility, have to share headlines with the couple they've been quietly distancing themselves from since 2020? That's where things stop making sense. Because just weeks before these Invictus reports surfaced, Kensington Palace made a quiet but significant move of their own. They hired a new communications officer, someone with a specific background in crisis management, described in one report as bulletproof sunshine. That's not the language you use for routine press work. That's the language of someone brought in to absorb impact. And here's what's raising eyebrows. The timing of that hire and the timing of these Harry and Meghan headlines are not far apart. Richard Kay didn't mince words about what this all signals. When you announce something this loaded through the press instead of through private channels, you're not extending an olive branch, you're applying pressure. And the people around the king, the people who understand how these things work, they see it for exactly what it is. But here's where it gets more complicated. Because buried inside these same reports was another detail. One that reframes this entire situation. Harry isn't just talking about attending Invictus. According to sources close to the couple, speaking to a publication that has cooperated with Harry and Meghan before, Harry wants to split his life between the UK and the United States, not visit, live, at least part of the year, and he reportedly wants his children to grow up here. That changes everything. Because this isn't a one-off event request anymore. If Harry's plan is to re-establish himself as a part-time British resident, with Meghan, with the children, with the security arrangements that would require, then the Invictus announcement isn't the story. It's the opening move. And that opening move has consequences that reach far beyond one stadium, one ceremony, and one awkward father-son photo opportunity. What it actually costs the king, what it costs William, and what it means for a family already stretched to its limit, that's exactly where this story is headed. Let's be clear about what King Charles is actually facing. On one side, a son who left, who sued the British, left, government, who sat across from Oprah Winfrey and said things that cannot be unsaid, who has spent 4 years building a life, a brand, and an identity in California that is fundamentally built on the distance between himself and this family. On the other side, veterans, wounded soldiers, men and women who lost limbs, lost sleep, lost pieces of themselves in service to the crown that Charles now wears. Harry didn't just make a request, he made a calculation. And the people closest to the king are watching it happen in real time, through newspaper headlines, through carefully placed reports, in publications that have a known history of cooperation with the Sussexes, through a slow and deliberate drip of information designed to make refusal look like cruelty. That's the part Richard Kay flagged that most coverage glossed over. Because there is something else sitting directly in the middle of this. July 2027. The same window as the Invictus Games. The same calendar stretch, where Harry is reportedly expecting his father to show up, cameras rolling, family reunion narrative ready to be written. That same month, Queen Camilla turns 80. Not a quiet birthday, not a private dinner, an 80th birthday for the woman who is now Queen of the United Kingdom. A milestone that, by any normal royal standard, would carry national significance. A service, a celebration, something that puts Camilla front and center in a way that her role has only recently, and still not completely, been publicly embraced. Richard Kay put it plainly: the king wants to make a fuss of his wife's birthday. Rightly so. And now he's being asked, publicly, before any private conversation was confirmed, to anchor that same month to Harry's event instead. Was that clash of dates known when the Invictus story dropped? Some online discussions have suggested the overlap was not accidental. Whether that's fair or not, the question kept surfacing, and then there's the security. And then, angle. Because none of this works without it. Harry has been consistent, publicly, legally, repeatedly, that he will not bring Meghan and the children to the UK without what he considers adequate protection. That case has wound through the British courts for years. A government review is now underway, and the outcome of that review, sources suggest, is directly tied to whether any of this Invictus reunion scenario actually happens. Think about what that means structurally. Harry's presence at Invictus, Meghan's potential arrival in the UK, the children growing up partly in Britain, all of it, every piece of this reported plan, is contingent on a British government security decision, a decision that Harry has been fighting for publicly, loudly, and through the courts. So when those Invictus reports dropped, framed as Harry being desperate for his father's involvement, what some observers were actually reading was a pressure campaign on multiple fronts simultaneously. The security review, the public optics around veterans, the calendar clash with Camilla's birthday, all of it landing at once. That's not coincidence. That's choreography. Now zoom out, because while Harry and Meghan's next move was dominating headlines, something else was happening inside the walls of the palace that deserves equal attention. William and Catherine are not sitting still. The Scotland trip, the farmers' mental health engagements, the England women's rugby reception at Windsor Castle, the crisis PR hire at Kensington Palace. These are not random acts. These are the moves of a couple who understand exactly what is coming and are building something sturdy enough to withstand it. Rebecca English, the Daily Mail's royal editor, made the point directly. The arrival of a crisis communications specialist at Kensington Palace isn't about a current emergency. It's about the one that's forming. Because if Harry and Meghan do return, even part-time, even conditionally, the rival court dynamic that has been theoretical for 4 years becomes suddenly, unavoidably real. 2 royal households, 2 public narratives, both fighting for the same limited oxygen. William saw what happened to his mother when the War of the Waleses consumed everything around it. He watched Diana's friendships fracture along loyalty lines. He watched the institution bleed, and he has spent the last 2 years doing the quiet, unglamorous work of rebuilding trust. Catherine's cancer recovery handled with dignity, their public engagements measured and purposeful, their image rebuilt brick by brick. The last thing that work needs is a circus-pulling focus. And here's what no one is saying loudly enough. Harry's ask on the surface is reasonable. A father at his son's event. A family moment around a cause that matters. Nobody is going to argue against Invictus publicly. That's the genius of the positioning and the discomfort of it at the same time. But Richard Kay's read of the situation cuts through the sentiment. When reconciliation is genuine, it happens behind closed doors first. It doesn't get announced in the Sunday papers before the other party has had a chance to respond. It doesn't come packaged with security demands, calendar complications, and the implicit suggestion that a public rejection would reflect badly on the king. That's not an olive branch. That's leverage. And whether Charles finds a way to attend, finds a way to decline gracefully, or finds himself caught between Camilla's 80th birthday and a veterans stadium full of cameras, the outcome of this moment will tell us more about the state of this family than anything that has come before it. The king has not responded publicly. The palace has not confirmed any private conversation took place, and Harry, for now, is waiting. But he is not waiting quietly. Subscribe to Royal Archives for more on how this story develops, and because this is only the beginning of what promises to be the most consequential chapter yet in the House of Windsor's most fractured relationship.